Trying to decide between NovelKeys 2 TKL options, NovelKeys Entry Edition versus their aluminum edition. I don't know, flip a coin. Well then, you've come to the right place. Today we're gonna compare the two versions of NovelKeys TKL keyboard, the NK87. Let's dive in and compare the two models. All right, let's get the obvious out of the way first. Price. The NK87 Entry Edition comes in at $135, while the aluminum edition comes in at $150 more at $285. So what exactly are you getting for $150 more? Well, let's break it down and see. These two keyboard kits from NovelKeys are actually pretty similar in terms of what you're getting with the keyboard. Now the biggest difference, the Entry Edition, you're getting a polycarbonate keyboard case with a polycarb plate, versus the aluminum edition, you're getting a CNC aluminum case with an aluminum plate. Now they both have the NovelKeys screw-in stabilizers, and they both have identical carrying cases, coiled USB-C, switch puller, and keycap puller. Now both these cases have the same level of silicone dampeners added in. So you have the silicone dampeners along the top case, you have the silicone in between the plate and the PCB, and you have a layer of silicone in the bottom of the case as well. So all of that is the same. So other than the actual materials that the case is made of, the obvious difference, the other differences I see between the two keyboards are the construction of the bottom case and how the top and bottom case actually fit together. The Entry Edition top case is snapped into place, and if you want to take the keyboard apart, you need to pry the top case from the bottom case off of these plastic tabs. I really don't like the way this is constructed. It feels like you're going to snap this top case every time you take the keyboard apart. And once apart, the plate and the PCB are screwed into the bottom of the case. Compared to the aluminum version, the same screws are here, similar to the Entry Edition when removing the PCB and plate from the bottom case on that Entry Edition. But this is actually how you detach the bottom case, leaving then the plate and the PCB attached to the top case. To remove the plate and the PCB from the top case, you then flip the top case over and first remove the PCB using the two standoff screws on the bottom. Then you'll find screws running along the edges. So removing all of those will then detach the plate and the PCB from the top case. The other big difference is within the bottom case and the silicone provided. So in the Entry Edition, the bottom case is a big hollow polycarb case, and you have this massive thick silicone dampener that sits inside of it. Compared to the aluminum bottom case, this is actually mainly a thick piece of aluminum. You still have a silicone dampener in here, but it is much thinner. The difference in the assembly between the two keyboards is a pretty drastic difference in my opinion. The aluminum version overall just feels like a much nicer, sturdier, more premium option highlighted in the assembly. And I mean, given the price difference, it should be more premium. Now that we've covered the two major differences that I see between these boards, I'm going to make a few alterations to this aluminum version. First, I'm going to swap out these NK stabs for some Durock V2 stabilizers. Second, I'm going to remove this aluminum plate and swap it out for a polycarb plate. We're going for Thok here, and also to compare it to the polycarb Entry Edition, I want them to be as similar in sound and materials as I can make it. So swapping out the aluminum plate for the polycarb plate will give both boards a polycarb plate. Now, one thing I did find odd, when you look at NovelKeys plate options for the NK87, they actually say that the silicone dampening between the PCB and the plate included with the Entry Edition is designed specifically for the polycarb plate, while the muffle mat, the silicone dampener with the aluminum edition, is designed specifically for aluminum, copper, carbon fiber, and brass plates. And they even call out that there might be a fit issue with the polycarb plate with the aluminum edition, and I could not get switches to click into the hot swap PCB using the polycarb plate with the silicone dampener. So just one thing to note, if you do want to use a polycarb plate with your aluminum edition, you will not be able to use the silicone dampening between the plate and the PCB. For the aluminum board, we're going to build this up with some Boba U4T tactile switches that will be lubed with Krytox 205 grade 0 and filmed, and I'll finish off the build with some nice PBT keycaps. Now, I've built both of these boards to be as close to a comparison as you can possibly get between an aluminum and a polycarb case. They both have polycarb plates, they both have pretty similar tactile switches, and they both have Durock V2 stabilizers. So let's hear how the two boards sound compared to one another and see if there's a big difference in the sound profile of these keyboards. Now, the NK87 Entry Edition really surprised me with how good it sounds given its price of $135. And if you haven't already, check out my Entry Edition video to hear a sound test with linear switches in this. It sounds really good as well. All things considered, is the aluminum edition worth $150 more than the Entry Edition? It's kind of tough to say. Obviously, you're getting an aluminum case versus the polycarb case. But is it worth $150 more given the sound profile and feel of the two boards? They both have the same mounting style and they sound somewhat similar. Now, the aluminum has a bit more of that marbly sound to it that you get with an aluminum case and a polycarb plate, while the Entry Edition, I guess, maybe sounds a little bit more muted given all of the silicone dampening in there with the polycarb plate as well. Now, the assembly of the aluminum version definitely has the leg up here. It is much sturdier. I have no fear of that holding up versus the Entry Edition. I've taken this board apart a number of times, and every time I pry that top case off, I do kind of hold my breath a little bit. I'm waiting for it to break. So the advantage definitely goes to the aluminum version there. And then at the end of the day, like everything in this keyboard hobby, it comes down to personal preference, your budget, and the sound profile you're looking for. Just want to give a big thanks to everybody who took the time to watch today's video. If you enjoyed this sort of comparison style video, drop a like and a comment down below, let me know. And while you're down there, if you could please subscribe to the channel, it would mean the world to me. And until next time, happy typing.